Oh shoot, I was going to do that. Hello. I was going to set something up and then I completely forgot, and now I'm here. Hey, the two people who are currently watching, I'm now still setting things up. Enjoy the cat in the meantime. There are now 3 people. How is everyone doing? I'm still here, by the way. I'm making lots of noise, apparently. Is everyone doing good this Friday? I'm assuming yes. You can put things in the chat if you want to respond to what I'm saying. Otherwise, I'm just a mad person talking. Also, I should probably check if everyone can hear me. Hello, viewers. This is always really strange. I've only done this like 3 or 4 times, but it's very strange to be talking into the void and not knowing if anyone's actually paying attention. But if you are paying attention, then feel free to comment about it, because otherwise I feel like hello, good evening, Jasmina. There we go. Someone to talk to. People who are arriving. I am setting things up currently. Hello, Danny from Georgia. How's it going in Georgia? Europe's a bit mental at the moment. I'm kind of a little bit glad to be on an island. Oh no! Plug the phone in. California. California is 8 or 9 hours behind, I believe. So it's what? 11 o'clock at the moment over there? That sounds about right. How was my day? My day was fine, thank you. How was your day? I have a half day at work on Friday, which is always nice because I get a bit more free time. I'm still here. I'm setting up lighting. Noon. That's pretty much 11 o'clock. I wasn't far off. Also, why was I using headphones? At the moment in the UK, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. So it's fairly late, but since it's a Friday, I don't mind. There we go. Lighting. You are thinking right. I am an engineer. I'm an optical engineer, if you want to be more precise, which means that I work with lasers. So, yes. How is everyone doing? I just thought I couldn't really make a video this week because of family visiting and all that. So I thought I could check in with everyone and do a little bit of a live stream. If anyone wanted to ask any questions, then they can ask them here or just chat. I'm always happy to chat with people. Hopefully the lighting's a bit better now. I have a very large ring light to my left. Company jumper. Company jumpers are always fun. I like buying new clothes. It's maybe marginally, what's the word? Materialistic of me, but it's fun. I try to limit it, but especially comfortable clothes is always a good investment. Thank you. I hope I have good lighting. I'm sorry, I'm very hyper tuned in to typos because my brain seems to read everything very literally. But yes, hello 11 people again. I don't know how many times I need to say hello. Can you see sushi in the background? Yeah, that's the problem with buying a bunch of clothes. It can get expensive fast, especially when you want to buy like good quality clothes, because you don't want to buy a bunch of things which is going to get wasted. Yes, sushi may come. She sometimes comes up on the computer desk, so hopefully She'll come up in a bit and say hi. Sylvia, that's a nice name for a cat. Although I should probably have most names for cats are nice. Oh, thanks, Daddy. That's really nice to hear. What inspired me to make your channel? There was a couple of things that inspired me, I guess. One was boredom, which is good inspiration. I had just finished university and I was looking for a job, but I had a lot of free time. So I wanted to fill my free time with something. And the second thing was that there wasn't much asexual representation in YouTube in general, and I found YouTube very helpful, and watching YouTubers tell their stories very helpful in coming to terms with my orientation. So because there was no representation like that, I thought that I could be that representation for other people, as I was in a fairly good place in terms of accepting my own orientation. Hope that answers your question. Feel free to throw as many questions at me as you like. That's why I'm here. And I'm going to get very thirsty on the course of this, but it's fine because I planned this in advance and I have a very large glass of water. It's always the silence in between comments that gets me. Do I just continue blabbing on this whole time? It's also very, very stressful when you can see the viewers going up and down. It's like, did I say something horrible? But you know what isn't horrible? It's Sushi, and she's now on the desk. So hopefully she won't press a bunch of keys and mess up everything. There she is. She normally ends up sitting on the keyboard or something. So if I randomly type a very strange message in the chat, it's probably because Sushi is contributing to my live stream. Am I planning anything for International Ace Day? I haven't got anything planned at the moment. To be honest, I've forgotten when it is. I've had a very busy start to the year. Actually, I'll leave the camera down there. The cat's more interesting than I am. Yeah, I haven't got anything planned at the moment, but maybe I'll look into it. Yes, I normally do something for Ace Week at the end of the year. So, yes, I'll see if I can get something in for International Ace Day, but if not... Yes, she is very cuddly. Sushi will sleep on me at night. Yes, and there's my other cat, Willow, in the background. She probably won't come up next to the camera. Yes, I am in the UK, shy cat. Specifically in Scotland. I live around Edinburgh, so I know I don't sound like I live in Scotland. I'm not from Scotland. Oops. Jacob is fine, thank you. Thank you for asking. For anyone who doesn't know, Jacob is my boyfriend. He has been in a couple of videos on the channel. He's doing good. Still living in America, so don't get to see him all that often, but I should be seeing him later in the year, which will be very nice. But yeah. I feel like I answer these questions too fast. I start talking and then don't stop talking and then kind of rush for an answer and then get to these awkward bits where I don't know what to say in between the questions or the chat. This is when I want more people to be watching, which is a weird sensation because I don't like people watching me in real life. It's also very silent here. I know you can hear me, so it doesn't sound very silent. But for me, all I can hear is myself. So it's very strange. Danny, hello again. Sorry, sweet videos, and that's how I already found out about your channel. They've really helped me be helpful since I've recently discovered MRAs. Yeah, I think the Ace Week videos are really great because it gives me the opportunity to showcase other parts of the Ace spectrum on my channel, because obviously I can only personally speak to the being homoromantic ace, and also in terms of intersectionality being a white cis man. So I really relish being able to share the stories of other people who have different experiences from my own, because I think it can be difficult to find representation that perfectly matches you. So I like being able to show the diversity in the community and help people realize themselves. My cats do not. Well, they're not very meowy, to be honest. Sushi meows at me when she wants food. Willow normally meows at me from the other side of a door, so I can't see her. I can't hear her, but I can see her because most of my doors are like with glass windows in. But Sushi last night did wake me up quite early in the morning by just running over me continuously. So while she doesn't meow at me to wake me up in the morning, she will stomp on me. Annie, what states in the US have I visited? Technically, I visited Maryland, but I visited Maryland at the peak of the pandemic because I already had a trip planned to see my boyfriend, and if I hadn't seen him then, it would have been about 18 months in between seeing each other. Instead, it was just 12. I think that's right. But yes, I technically visited Maryland, but I didn't actually go outside very much because we were pretty much just isolating in his flat. And then last year, I visited Florida because that's where he's originally from. So yeah, we visited his home state, which was very nice. And I'm glad I visited in November because as I live in Scotland, the Florida weather is very hot and oppressive. So as another female, I want to thank you for helping us find the vocab for our experiences. Yeah, I'm happy to contribute to any like educational stuff because I think that there's obviously been people who have felt asexual or aromantic for a long time, for probably the whole of history, but it's only in having these discussions about the orientations and developing a vocabulary to talk about our experiences that we can properly like express, that's the word I'm looking for, properly express the extent of our experiences and explain to other people how we feel. And in doing so, and in developing this vocabulary, we can then relate to other people, because it's difficult to say, for example, hey, I don't really want sex with people, but I still want to date them. Is that like normal? But if you then have the vocab to say, hey, I'm homo-romantic asexual in my sense, and then someone else already knows that vocab as well, they can then recognize their own experience in your own. But yes, that was a bit of a blab. Now I'm really thirsty. Do I have any American foods that I like? Plenty, I imagine. There's a lot of American foods, I think, that have made their way over to the UK, which I don't really consider as American foods just because they've been a part of what I was exposed to since I was young. So, like burgers and things. Although saying that, I don't actually like beef burgers. I tend to eat bean burgers. I don't know if they're American or not, but they're based off, I guess, what is an American food. But I don't really know what food originated in America. One thing, I think that American bacon is nicer than British bacon. Not that I really like. I don't tend to eat meat very often, so I try to reduce consumption of animal products and all that. But I think American bacon is nicer. The other thing I had recently when I visited America was biscuits, but they're not biscuits. They're like scones. It's very strange. and they're in like Southern America or something. But they were quite nice. They were like scones, but they're very flaky, kind of the same flakiness that you would get from a pastry. It was interesting. What is my favorite thing about? Oh yes, for anyone who's just arrived, sushi is sitting on my desk. She likes to do this when I'm at the computer. What is my favorite thing about living in Edinburgh? I really like the city and it's nice living in a city for the amenities, I suppose. But at the same time, it has a lot of historic, interesting things. And there's just a castle in the middle of the city. There's just right in the center of the city. There's this big hill and a castle on top of it. And I just think that's really cool because I tend to like old things more than modern things. So having it be a city in that is very convenient. It also has that history and that older aspect to it as well. Lucy, hello. And yes, I will upload the live stream to the channel later. I think it tends to go to like a live section to it, but they upload afterwards. And if you go to my Twitter, I'll probably tweet about it afterwards. It should be the same link that you're on at the moment currently. But I did skip a question, which was intentional, just in case Lucy needed to go and was checking about uploading the live stream. So, meant Southern foods. When I visited Florida, did you try any nice desserts like peach cobblers? I did actually have, talking about the biscuits, there was this one breakfast place that I went to where I had a biscuit with Southern fried chicken in, which is really nice. I like Southern fried chicken in general, which is the weird thing. I was thinking about this the other day. We call it Southern fried chicken in the UK as well, but we don't specifically or explicitly call it Southern American fried chicken, just Southern fried chicken, which is very strange because it's not like it's made in Cornwall or something over here. Anyway, did I try any nice desserts like peach cobblers? I didn't try any peach cobblers, but I did have some nice desserts because I was actually there over Thanksgiving. So I was having Thanksgiving with my boyfriend's family, and there were quite a few nice desserts there. There was like a Swiss roll, but it was a pumpkin one with cream cheese. What else was there? There was a cranberry. I think it was a cobbler, but it was a cranberry one, which is really nice. There was also pumpkin pie, and there may have been other things as well. But there were a lot of desserts, and I very much like sweet foods. Sweet foods are very nice. So I'll eat pretty much anything that has an excessive amount of sugar in it, which is probably not the best for my teeth. Damn it, I did it again. Oh, there we go. How do I like Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving was interesting because it's just a strangely placed holiday. It's like just before Christmas. It's very close to Christmas. There's a lot of food. The desserts were really nice, which was good. Yes, I think I would have liked it more, but it was quite a stressful experience because it was the first time meeting a lot of my boyfriend's family. So I just get mildly anxious when I think about it. But yeah, it's a nice, I guess, family-centered holiday, which is always good. That's the reason I like Christmas, because it's not because of the presents or the any of the traditional elements of it or anything, just because it's an opportunity, an excuse to see my family, which is always fun. Stephanie. Well, I'm really glad that you have tried to educate yourself about asexuality in order to understand your friend better. That's really nice to hear, because I think it takes a lot of the pressure off the ace person having to explain themselves all the time. So I'm sure that you educating yourself is probably taken a lot of weight off your friend's shoulders, and I'm sure they're very appreciative of that effort that you've put in. So I'm glad that my videos could have helped with that. Yes, I made a lot of random screw-ups there. For anyone who's just joined, this is Sushi. She's helping with the live stream. She's technical support. If anyone else... I really enjoyed tea culture. Do you have tea time or afternoon tea in my... No, you can't be eating sushi. That's so mean. She's just a little kitty. No eating sushi. Yes, I do enjoy tea time or afternoon tea in my daily life. No, to be honest, I'm not a hot drink person, for one. So I don't tend to oops, trying to fall off the desk. Jeez. Yeah, I don't actually drink tea. But scones are good, and you tend to have scones with afternoon tea. So I wouldn't say no if someone invited me to afternoon tea, but I live alone as well, so I think it would be a bit sad and or creepy if I just made a little... Maybe it's not. It's actually quite nice if you do, but it's a lot of effort for me to go in and make myself a whole afternoon tea platter just for myself. Which of my cats is more affectionate? They're both very affectionate, to be fair. It's quite funny because although Will did come in here a minute ago and didn't really come close, she has been sitting on me most of the day because Sushi tends to be more affectionate when I'm upstairs. And Willow tends to be more affectionate when I'm downstairs. For some reason, they just have their own areas of the house. And yeah, Sushi will sleep with me during the overnight, whereas Willow will keep me company when I'm like playing games on the TV or watching something. So yes, they're both very affectionate. Yes, the little burr she made was very cute. She's a very cute little kitty. Right. Questions. Remember you said the carrot cake was your favorite cake, but I forgot which one do you like more, garlic bread or cake? I think that I like them both for different reasons. One is a savory food for one. One's a sweet food. I probably eat garlic bread more often because garlic bread's very easy to do and it's delicious. And I put like garlic in most of the foods that I make. But I wouldn't say that I like it more than cake because cake's just really good. I made some cupcakes the other day and they were delicious too. So how can you choose between garlic bread or cake? And for anyone who isn't aware, garlic bread and cake are both symbols, I guess, of asexuality or weird. They're part of ace culture, if you could call it that. I've seen the cake more often, and obviously cake being an ace thing is what the channel is themed after. But I guess more recently I've seen garlic bread as well. Yeah. So Alexis, I'm glad that my videos have helped a lot with understanding asexuality and all that. if you have any questions, like, feel free to ask them now. I'm happy to field anything relating to asexuality and stuff. But yeah, don't feel pressured to sort everything out, because it takes a while, and it doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong with not understanding yourself. That can come later, as long as you make sure that you accept yourself for who you are, no matter who that is. Nat, hello. Your ace ring, I hope you don't mind if I ask, but where did I get it from, and what type was it? Oof, I believe I ordered it from Amazon a long time ago. It would have been... Oh no, how old am I? Like 5 years ago. It's made of stainless steel, I think. So it's lasted me quite well. But it's got little... this isn't going to focus, is it? It's got little, like, engravings on it. Nothing in particular. They kind of look like leaves or something. But yes, I quite like it because it's thick. It's just interesting. And it's very good to fiddle with. If you haven't noticed during this call, I've been fiddling during this call, during this live stream, whatever this is. I've been fiddling with a lot of different things. Has asked, how is the long distance relationship going? It's going well, thank you. I was just on a call with my boyfriend before this, and I hung up on him to talk to you guys. So I hope you're happy. Yeah, I mean, we get along, and we're hoping to close the distance at some point, but it's going to be, yeah, it'll work out when it works out. We're not in any rush, because things are still insane in the world, and there's no point stressing yourself out about little things. I might call him back. Technically, he's still working at the moment. I think I caught him during his lunch break. I don't know if you can hear this in the background, but Willow is trying to get into a bag currently. Right. Any games that I'm excited for? I can talk about this. So actually, I recently I recently got Total War Warhammer 3, which I was excited for a long time. And I know that's not a game that I am excited for in the future, but it's a game I was excited for a long time. And it only came out last week, I think. So that's like a strategy game on the computer, which I was looking forward to for a long time. But what games am I excited for in the future? Very excited for Gen 9 now that's announced, of Pokemon, so Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I want to see those final evolutions for the starters, so I can decide which one I want to choose. But I'm always very impatient with that sort of thing. Very excited for Kirby, coming out later this month. It looks kind of like 3D World, like Mario 3D World, but in Kirby. And it's been a while since I've played a Kirby game, and Star Allies I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite Kirby game. So I haven't played the demo yet. The demo came out, I think, today. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. Probably after I've got off this live stream, I'm going to be playing Kirby. What else? There's other games coming out as well. The Advance Wars remakes. I haven't played through the original Advance Wars in a while, so I'm looking forward to playing through those. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm pretty sure I've lost the attention of pretty much everyone watching this at this point. But you shouldn't ask me questions about video games and expect me not to have a long-winded answer. But Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I'm very excited for. It seems to be tying together Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, which is kind of dabbled in the second one anyway, which is very cool. Love myself a Xenoblade game. There were some others as well. There's the DLC coming out for the expansion coming out for Monster Hunter Rise later this year, which is going to be really cool. I need to hop back into Rise at some point. I played a decent amount of it. I probably played more of Weldon Iceborne, but I think that's just because there's literally been more content for those games because they've been out longer. I was really enjoying. I always love the hammer. The hammer's a really fun weapon in Monster Hunter. You just bonk people in the head repeatedly, just bonk them until they're dead. But I think, is that all the games? That might be all the games. I might get Fire Emblem Warriors, but I'll have to see because the first Fire Emblem Warriors was a bit iffy in terms of like the variety of the characters because they all had kind of repeat move sets a lot of the time. But yes, and obviously Breath of the Wild 2 should be great. Although I hope they don't continuously go in Breath of the Wild directions because I do like myself a good regular dungeon Zelda game. Now that I've answered that question, hopefully it's given you time to ask some more questions. I won't answer what Jacob does for work because I don't feel comfortable talking about him without his permission in like those sort of personal details. So I hope you understand on that front. If he wants to hop in and answer any questions fielded about him, then he can do that. But otherwise, I'll probably be skipping those. So if I do skip your question and it's about Jacob, it's because I don't feel comfortable answering on his behalf. Shy Cat, how can one tell if one may be an aromantic? What are the different nuances? So I preface with I myself am not aromantic. Aromanticism is defined as a lack of romantic attraction. So I guess it's difficult, but maybe you want to kind of evaluate how important romantic relationships are in your life, whether that's something you seek out and you want, or maybe it's just something which is a fleeting interest. If you can kind of work out, is the level of interest I have in a romantic relationships equal to or comparable to people like quote unquote regular people, alloromantic people? And if it is, maybe you're more alloromantic. Or if you feel like you are a lot less interested in those romantic things than your peers, then maybe you're arospec, aromantic fully, or just somewhere on the spectrum between aromanticism or alloromanticism. There are things, obviously, in the same way that asexuality has a spectrum, there's an aromantic spectrum as well. It could be, for example, demi-romantic, wherein you need to form an emotional connection before being able to feel romantic attraction towards someone. So there's definitely a lot of nuances to that. Another thing I always find with romantic attraction and romance in general is that it's very subjective as to what is romantic. And I think it's kind of up to you to decide what you consider romantic, because it depends on your own view on romance and also your culture's view on romance. So what I would personally consider romantic would be like, I guess, going on dates and spending a lot of time intimately getting to know someone on an emotional level, and I consider kissing as romantic. I know it has a strong sensual aspect to it too, but for me personally, there's also a quite significant romantic aspect to kissing. So it's, I guess it's up to you to decide like what is romantic to you and to what extent do you want those romantic things in your life, and then you can kind of determine whether you are arospec or not. I hope that helped. I try to keep up informed about aromanticism, but I myself am not aromantic. I think if you do want to hear some Arrow experiences, last year I did an interview with Marshall, Gentle Giant Ace, during Arrow Week, and also Sarah from Sounds Fake But Okay. Yasmin Benoit is obviously a big aromantic and asexual activist. And if you go to the AOK podcast, they've stopped making new episodes now, but they do have a lot of interviews with Arrow and A-Spec people. So if there's a particular interview or experience that you feel like you'd resonate with, then that's always a good place to get kind of personal stories about identifying a certain way. Am I on Twitch? I am not on Twitch. This is literally, YouTube is literally the only social media outlet that I have for all my thoughts. And that's mainly because social media terrifies me and stresses me out. So while I really want to make a difference in ace activism and ace education, I also have to kind of look after my own mental state, my mental health, and the best way I can do that in terms of my activism is sticking on YouTube. And yes. What is one song that I recently listened to and I liked? One song. I did listen to a song earlier today, and I can't remember what it was called, so I'm going to look it up quickly. I can't remember what it's called, and we're not going to get there anytime soon. Actually, I know a way to look it up, so feel free to. It was a metal song, if you like metal music. I do quite like metal, some good metal music, and it was a band I hadn't heard of before. So I hope that this build-up is not at all boring. It might be, but who knows? The song was called. Where did it go? The Eagle Flies Alone by Arch Enemy. That was a song recently that I enjoyed listening to, but it's like the vocals are quite harsh. So if you don't like harsh vocals, then you're probably not going to enjoy the song. I also have this fun song I like listening to called Execution is Fun by Tardigrade Inferno, which is just a really fun song. I know it doesn't sound very fun, but it's really fun to listen to. Hello, Manic Alien, who is away from keyboard but listening in. What was my favorite subject at school? Maths. My favorite subject at school was maths because I did a physics degree, but when I was at school, physics didn't use much maths because they couldn't assume that you also did maths A-levels when you took a physics A-level. So you couldn't use any of the maths that you learned, like differentiation and integration, calculus and algebra and all that. They couldn't use any of that in my physics A-level. So physics was very wordy and fact-based and just rote memory rather than problem solving, which is the sort of physics that you do when you do a degree in physics. So when I was in school, I tended to prefer maths to physics because maths was more like number crunching and solving problems and doing algebra and calculus and all these fun things. I know to most people that probably doesn't sound very fun, but I quite enjoy maths. So Karen Crystal, hello, can you comment on all the ace spike? Ace spike? I cannot comment on all the ace spike because I don't know what the ace spike is. If you could enlighten me, if anyone could enlighten me into what the ace spike is, then I would love to hear about it. But unfortunately, it's not something that I can comment on because I've never heard of it before. So sorry about that. What's my biggest hobby? My biggest hobby has probably got to be just video games in general, which is probably quite a boring answer. I have a lot of hobbies that I don't spend much time on because obviously I do the channel, which takes up a big chunk of my time. I play a lot of video games. I like playing board games when I have people around. I do D&D. I DM every other weekend for my friends, and I am also in a game as a player, which is weekly. Yes, I used to play piano, but I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, I also like creating things in general. But yeah, I have a lot of hobbies and I don't do them very often. Hello, anyone who has joined, by the way. I haven't said that in a while, but if you have any questions, then feel free to put them in the comments and I will, or the live chat, and I will answer them as they come up. A few questions behind at the moment, but I will get there eventually. What? No, that's the one I just asked. Have I ever been to a metal concert? No. I'm not very good around people, if that is surprising at all. So the a concert sounds terrifying to me. I don't like loud noises and I don't really like large groups of people. So that's a lot of people in a small space with lots of loud noise. I'm sure I would enjoy the music if the music were in a vacuum. And it's I'm sure I would enjoy the music if I was in a vacuum, but the added anxiety that I would get from the loud noise and the concentration of people, I don't think it would end up as an enjoyable experience to me, which is really a shame because I do like live music and listening to live music. I like going to my sister plays in a jazz band. Yeah, a big band. There we go. She plays in a big band, and I always like enjoying that because you're kind of in an audience. It's quiet when the music is playing, so it doesn't stress me out as much as a concert would be. But I think it would be difficult to get that kind of situation in metal music. I've always wanted to go to like a classical concert as well because I quite like classical music too, which I know is a bit of a contrast to all the metal music I was talking about earlier. But I think that'd be a nice thing to go to. But yes, there has been some clarification in the chat about what a spike is, and I'm learning things now. So a spike is a brief sexual attraction at times that don't last, or maybe it's a brief, short but intense and then just goes away. So it kind of sounds like a crush, but sexual, a sexual crush, like a smash. Like a really intense sexual attraction, but it's short-lived, right? You burn out quickly. I mean, I can see that happening. Like, I'm not gonna. If someone says that they feel a strong sexual attraction towards someone that then goes away, then fair enough. That's what they feel. I don't know if there's a. It's not something that I've looked into at all. Obviously, this is the first time I've heard about it, but I think it's best to trust that people understand their own experiences and to accept that that's the way they want to talk about them, because everyone's different at the end of the day, and they know themselves best. So if they feel a strong sexual attraction that then goes away, and they want to label that as a spike, then all power to them. Would I say that it's inappropriate to include an ace character in, for instance, a short story or something when you're not ace? No, absolutely not. I think that ace representation is important. And as long as you are coming at it from an angle of trying to properly represent an ace experience and be respectful to that experience, then I would actively encourage people to include ace characters in fiction. Because the thing is, you can't always write you can't be restricted to writing exactly what's in your experience. Because if you did, you would have stories with very one-dimensional, similar characters. Like, no one would be able to write a story with more than one orientation in it. It would be like, oh, I'm a straight man, and I'm going to write this story with all straight men in it, and there's only going to be men because I'm a man and I can't write anything else. But no, obviously that isn't true. You can write any experience And of course, you're not going to have that personal connection to it. And maybe the representation that you give in that isn't going to then be as good as if it's someone who knows about that experience themselves. But as long as you talk to people who identify that way and listen to people who identify that way and make sure that you are being respectful to that person's experience, then yeah, I think it's a great idea personally. I know that I can't see as like, I think the only pitfall would just be if you're making a mockery of it. But as long as you're going in with the intention of being respectful, then it's a good thing to be including ace representation because we direly need it. But yes. I make noises sometimes. Classical concert is fun. I will go to a classical concert when I can, but I want someone to go with. Maybe I should convince Jacob to go to a classical concert with me. How do I feel about the theatre, and what is my favorite musical? I have never been to the theatre. I've never been to I think I have been to a musical, but I was so young that I can't remember it. And it's really sad. And I want to go, but once again, I've got no people to go with, and it's really sad. I just want to go watch theatre things because I really like singing and musical aspects and music in general. So I know that I would really enjoy going to musicals and going to the theatre. But I haven't been, and it's really sad, and I want to go. Please, someone take me. But I suppose if I had to answer the question, what is my favorite musical, it would be the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Once More with Feeling, because that is my favorite TV show. Wait a second. Did someone ask what my favorite film was earlier? I didn't answer it. I'm sure I saw that. Did I imagine that? If anyone wants to know, my favorite film/films is Lord of the Rings by miles. I love them. If someone didn't ask that, then I just answered a question that wasn't asked, which is free content. So you're welcome. Thanks, Nobody Unknown. It's always really nice to... thanks for the support. And it's nice to hear that the information I am giving is useful to people. I don't know if everyone heard Sushi meow then. I think she wants some attention. I know there's some capacity where it's demi or grey sexual. The more I experience, the more it changes or depends on the person. It's confusing, but I definitely feel comfortable being yes. Yeah, I think it's very difficult to pinpoint. I mean, I talk about this stuff on a regular basis, and I still have trouble. I have trouble like being confident in my identity. And at the moment, I'm happy identifying as ace. But I don't know. Maybe I'm demi, maybe I'm just asexual. It's really confusing, but I think it's more that I am asexual and just have a lot of self-doubt. I'm just not a very confident person. Because as we know, only Sith deal in absolutes. Do I have any good recommendations of good ace representation in media, film, TV, or novels? Well, I've actually done... I think Willow is creeping up on Sushi. There may be a cat fight in this room momentarily. Yes. So I've done a few videos on this channel actually about ace rep. So obviously the short film that I talked about last week, you should give a watch if you haven't already. There was recently actually asexual representation in Legends of Tomorrow, which is a CW DC superhero show, if anyone watches that. I haven't actually looked at it myself, What else is there? BoJack Horseman apparently has a very good character, ace character in Todd. Another thing that I haven't watched. In the Outer Worlds. Yes, the Outer Worlds. There was an ace character, which is apparently really good representation. And another one that I haven't actually experienced myself. I'm not going to give an example here. Loveless by Alice Oseman. Alice Oseman was a book with ace representation that is well regarded. And I recently read a book, Before We Were Blue, which I believe has come out now, that had ace representation in it. I was sent an advanced copy, but I'm pretty sure I put the review out as it came out. So, yeah, it should be out now. But yes, I'm sure Edinburgh has a great theatre scene. Probably. If not, I could go to London. I mean, it's quite far away, but there's a direct train line from Edinburgh to London. So, everyone's being so nice. Stop being so nice. Nice. Be nice. Be not nice. I wonder how that label works with lithosexual. Lithosexual. This is one of the ones that I always get mixed up with other ones. I'm going to look it up before saying any definitive statements. Lithosexual. Right, it's the one without the reciprocation. I thought it was. I just didn't want to say it without checking. Yeah, that's a good point. Like a strong, intense sexual attraction that you don't want reciprocated. I mean, that's kind of people do normally want crushes reciprocated. I still think smash is an amazing word for this ace spike thing, and people should have started off doing this. Oh yeah, Sushi's down there now. You can kind of see her. As a gay myself, I'm attracted to boys, so this was very useful for me as well. It's extremely good job. I'm attracted to boys too. Well, men, since I'm a man and not a pedophile. Cool. I've gotten to the end of the questions. Are there any more questions? Or should I start milking my cats for content? I shouldn't have said that, because then you're just going to say, show the cats, show the cats, show the cats. Smash, crush, squish. See, they're the different levels of things. Squish is what you do to squish is what you do to like what are they called? A stress ball. Crush is what you do to a can. And smash is what you do to a Terry's chocolate orange. Christian, what is your favorite Star Wars lightsaber color? Are we going the films or the like expanded like games and other expanded lore? Because if it's just the films, then what options do you really have? Like green, blue, red. Mace Windu's got the purple one, and Rey got a yellow one at the end of the sequel trilogy. So out of those options, purple's probably my favorite. Love a good purple. But if we're going like expanded lore, I always liked the look of silver lightsabers. I remember when I played Knights of the Old Republic 2. Knights of the Old Republic 2. There's this bit where you can choose. Bye, Danny. Thanks for asking questions and talking. This has been fun. Have a nice weekend. Yes, there's this bit when you're talking to someone about what your lightsaber color used to be, and then it shows a cutscene, and you can choose whether you had like, I think it was like dual lightsabers, double lightsaber, or single lightsaber. I'm not remembering very well, but you could choose like silver lightsaber, and that was always really cool. I know it's just no color essentially; it's just light, but it looks cool and it matches whatever outfit you've got. What can I say about QPRs? QPRs, or queer platonic relationships, are platonic relationships which have, I guess, the intensity and level of commitment that you would normally expect out of or like society would normally expect out of a romantic relationship. But there isn't that romantic aspect to it. You don't necessarily see the things you're doing as romantic. So it's obviously quite important in the aromantic community for people who would want a committed relationship with someone, maybe another arospec person, but they don't feel romantic attraction. So, yeah, that's basically what I understand a QPR to be. I've seen a lot more interesting QPRs recently. I remember when I asked the question on Twitter, I saw a lot of people talking about QPRs and that they wanted QPRs. So that was very interesting. That was a very interesting thing to note. Apparently today, when I'm getting distracted, I keep on making sounds with my mouth. Mouth with my mouth. That's an interesting thing. I don't normally do that. Best feeling is talking to other people about Ace because they fully understand what I feel. Every other person gets too confused all at once. Yes. I think that's why Ace spaces or queer spaces in general are important, because it gives you the community to talk to people who have similar experiences to your own. And hopefully we can get to a point where allo people as well will, for the most part, I don't think it will ever be fully, but for the most part, respect and understand Ace people and Ace and our identities. But yes. Nobody unknown. I can be both sexually and romantically attracted to boys, right? Because I think I am that. Yeah. I mean, that's generally what is thought of as gay, homoromantic, and homosexual, I guess. Nobody's sexual. Yeah, for most people, as Nat said, sexual and romantic attraction tend to align. Mine do not. And if they do not, you can use the split attraction model, which I love talking about. How was it dating while identifying as Ace? It's difficult, right? Because you kind of have to have a conversation to most people you talk. Well, there's two ways to go about it, I suppose. You can either date other people who are asexual, in which case you don't have necessarily anything to explain, and it's a lot easier process. But the problem is that there aren't many other ace people out there. So when I was dating, because I was kind of sex indifferent, sex neutral in terms of my attitude towards sex, I was happy trying to date allo people as well. And but the thing is, you kind of have to have a conversation or some sort of discussion about your orientation, about asexuality, to to talk about it and to establish what you want your relationship to look like in terms of romance, in terms of sex, in terms of what you're comfortable with, and setting those boundaries early on. So I think that it kind of forces you into setting those boundaries, which is stressful and it's not something you want to do, but I think it is something you probably should do early on in a relationship, regardless of whether you're ace or not, whether you're allo, whether you're aromantic, whatever. You should be having these frank discussions with a potential partner about what you want out of a relationship, because otherwise it's probably not going to work very well. Maybe too much a personal question, but what was my worst experience dating? Well, I went on this very confusing date once with an allo guy. So we'd kind of discussed my asexuality before, and he was like, Yeah, I'd be fine. I think I'd be okay, like dating an asexual person, but I like not going to promise anything because, which is fair. But I go on this date. I was having fun, having a good time, and then we were sitting in a bar, I think, and he was like, "I don't think I'd actually want to date an ace person." And I'm sitting there, middle of this date, in a bar. I mean, like, I was really enjoying this, but now I feel like I've suddenly been friend zoned. So I was kind of a bit miserable after that. But we both like continued the day, and then we both had to get on the train to get back to. Well, the day was in Glasgow, so I lived in Edinburgh, so I had to go back on the train. He lived somewhere in between the two cities, or a bit further out of Glasgow. So we both went on the train, and he like leaned forwards to kiss me on the train. And I'm super confused because I'm like, this date was nice, but I've been friend zoned. Fine, I will get over it. But then he leans in to kiss me. And the thing is, he's not just leaning in to kiss me, he's leaning in to make out with me. So I was like, okay, kisses are enjoyable. Might as well do this. So I go to kiss him, but then he's trying to make out with me. And it's super awkward, but also kind of nice. But I hated it. So that was my worst experience dating. It wasn't bad in the moment. But looking back on it, it was just kind of a messed up date because I was friend zoned, and also he came on to me really hard at the end of the day, and it was a bit strange. It was very strange, very confusing. But yeah, does anyone have any more questions at the moment? If not, I may wrap up in a bit. Do I have any plants? No, I have a garden though. The garden's got plants in it, I guess. It's got grass in it at the moment. I need to plant plants in it. Plant plants. I think I'm going to plant some herbs. Let's grow some herbs and cook with them because that's fun. But yeah, if anyone has any questions in like the next 10 minutes, then feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap the live stream up because I am getting a bit tired. It's like 9 o'clock in the UK, and I tend to go to bed at 10 because I don't know, I'm a morning person. Do I like living alone? I don't. Okay. I know I said I lived alone, but I have 2 cats, so I don't really live alone. I don't mind living alone. I quite enjoy my own space. That being said, I very much want to live with my boyfriend. I wish that were possible, and I would very much prefer living with my boyfriend. So while I don't mind living alone, and I'm perfectly happy living by myself and being independent, I would prefer to live with my boyfriend. He's probably not watching this. If he were, he'd be in the comments saying nice things. Some boyfriend he is. Yeah, I'm sure I will be able to be one day. We're planning it. It's just difficult to plan as he lives in America. One of us needs to get a visa. Visas are hard to come by. Thanks for asking the questions. If there was no one to ask questions, I would just be here talking to avoid, and I would have a sore throat for no reason. I should have been drinking more water. I feel like I'm going to be an auction person. Calling once, calling twice. That's what they say at the auction, isn't it? Leave it on for 5 more minutes in case anyone wants to ask any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go. Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed my endless blabbering. Next week should be back to my regularly scheduled programming. If you have anything that you want to see from the channel going forward, then feel free to comment it here or on another video, because I'm always happy to take suggestions. Yeah. But otherwise, if there's not anything else, I feel really bad, because what if someone's currently typing a question and it's a really good question, and then I just cut off the live stream just before they send it, and then I never see the question? It'd be so sad. Okay, I've left it long enough. Nobody wants to watch me blabber anymore. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. If you enjoyed this live stream, please leave a like. I post videos every Saturday, so if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. That's all I had to say there. I will not see you next time. Blah. Goodbye.